Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker. This is one of those historic days. I'm so happy to have, look at those colors. Dior ADDICT Eau de Parfum first version, first formulation. This is the box that they used to come in when they produced them. Dior ADDICT in its rainbow holographic box, rainbowy all the way through. It's like a soft holographic color. It's so addictive already. Just looking at it, so amazing. Unfortunately, only 20 milliliter, nothing bigger found, but we got it. And I will be reviewing it. I will also be comparing it to the formulation, the reformulation we find today in stores post 2014. Let's click it open. This is the original. Opening notes, very chemical. I mean, this is a 2011-ish batch, so 7 years old, but you know, still amazing. It has a green touch to it in the opening, but it's spicy and warm right away. Been testing this out and playing around with them and seeing how they develop. So the new formulation, it bites a bit more in the opening. And it's more green. It's a bit more flat. This one is deep. The spices there are deeper, but interestingly enough, so I think Thierry Vassa created this one in 2002. He blended it in very well. It's not overpowering. It lasts forever on the skin, but it doesn't punch you in the face so strongly as does the new Eau de Parfum. This one is a bit more rough. It's as if they took away a lot of the ingredients that balanced it out well and that hid certain elements of the fragrance within special dreamy crevices that only open up to the viewer or to the smeller or to the wearer of the perfume as the fragrance goes on and develops. So hence you're like walking on this deserted island. You've been dropped off by a pirate ship. Or better so, I think Dior ADDICT is more about, the original, about escaping a pirate ship, ending up on a deserted island, and then discovering there's a lot of caves on that island. The new Eau de Parfum, Dior ADDICT, delivers an island without many, if any, caves. But the original is an island full of caves and secrets and mysteries. And a lot of, hence this means the abundance of ingredients create those caves. And so certain ingredients are layered on top of each other to hide what's underneath. And only with time, as you're experiencing this island, which is Dior ADDICT, you find out the crevice, you find out the cave, you find out that place where you can go into to smell out, to sniff out some special ingredient that was hidden, like a hidden treasure in the beginning. But it shows its face later on in the game. The Eau de Parfum, or the actual formulation that we get today in stores, pretty much shows you that the waters surrounding the island are very intense. There's a lot of waves. There could be a storm more often than is the case with the original formulation of Dior ADDICT. By this I mean you arrive to the island already thinking it's a bit of a dangerous island with the new formulation. But once you're on the island, you feel relatively safe. So once that opening, those green, screechy, punchy opening notes are gone, and the newer formulation, slowly but surely the vanilla and the tonka bean kick in. And those are magical in both formulations, except The original has an extra note to it. It does have the night blooming cactus. What do they call it exactly? Night blooming cereus. The queen of the night. It's not listed in the new formulation, but I smell it out in both. But even that's not what's missing in the original, in the new formulation. And we only find what is missing in the new formulation if we're lucky enough to have the packagings of both. Well, let's hold them like this. So the original is sprayed on this arm, the original formulation with the hologram, and the new package, 20 milliliter, this is 100 ml, the new Dior ADDICT Eau de Parfum. You see, the only hologram it kind of kept was the borders of the box and the logo on the box. But even that's kind of like a cheap hologram, not so beautifully blended and creamy like milk as is this one. So if you're lucky enough to have the boxes, when we flip them, there, you've seen it. The ingredients show me something that not even almost any website that reviews these perfumes online shows. A lack of one particular ingredient. And that ingredient has been made illegal by the IFRA in its natural state. And many of you have already guessed what it is. It's the oak moss. And in fact, what does the original state? One of the essential in the heart ingredients of the perfume, Evernia prunastri, oak moss extract. It doesn't exist in this one. It's totally gone. Totally gone. Maybe there's some other chemical that's supposed to be in there instead of it, but it's gone. And this Evernia prunastri oak moss extract, not even the night blooming cereus or the queen of the night cactus is what gives it the magic. It's the oak moss. It's the oak moss, guys. That oak moss literally covers up the entire island of the original Dior ADDICT and expands. Visualize a mossy ground. It's kind of when you walk over it, it's like a sponge. It's almost soft. And there's green and gray and white hues to it. And it kind of, that softness is like a pillow. You just want to fall onto it and roll. And then all of a sudden you fall into a cave. And inside of that cave, where it's always night, you discover the night blooming cereus, the queen of the night. Every single cave has it with slight variations. One has it with a bit of a hint of vanilla there as well. Another one will have it with, what do we have here? With sandalwood. That's another one of the ingredients in there. The tonka bean, which is powerful stuff in this perfume. Then we also have the orange blossom, which is so subdued. It's so elegant, very, very light. And jasmine. Of course, very important is also the blackberry. But the blackberry is a fruit that also when you taste it, if it's not ripe just yet, not ripe enough, it can be a bit acidy. But if it's ripe enough, it has almost a peppery taste to it. It's not overly sweet. It has a kind of a damp, sweet taste to it. And then dampness is as if it were covered up with a layer of creamy milk and honey. And that's what you get in here. The fragrance stays close to the skin. Like in addiction, you're hiding it from the rest of the world. But it lingers on for hours and hours and hours. Every time you re-smell yourself, it's there. It's still there. The new one is a bit more aggressive. There's less ingredients, as I said before, and it keeps punching in a certain way, pulsating in a certain way. It emanates from you, so other people are more aware of it when you're wearing it. They're more aware of your own presence when you're wearing it. Hence, it's less of an addiction because it's very much in your face. You're showing other people that you have the addiction. The first formulation is much more clever in the entire concept of addiction. And if you check out on YouTube the original ad campaign, the original ad video for Addict, it nails it to a T. It's kind of a rainy night, damp night, and this woman, she's like sweating from the heat and from the addiction. She's striving to get this little bottle, which is protected in almost like a museum kind of state gallery, like a jewelry store with you know, with thick glass in front of it. Like you could even shoot through it. And she finds a way to kind of get her fix of Addict. Today, if I were to create a video commercial to describe and depict this Dior Addict, it would be really more in your face. There would be no night. We would not be hidden. And this is an idea that I'm having now since finally I get to compare the two, you know, because my whole idea of the review of this fragrance. So you could check out the review of this one in the description box down below. I have reviewed it prior to having like literally a fresh first formulation batch of Dior Addict. I would make a video of the new one more kind of veering towards daytime, and you are a sort of an addict and you're struggling with it, but you've had your fix the night before, and then the day after you're hungover, you know, the downer is coming, and you're kind of struggling with that, and you're looking to get a new fix. So you're not really fabulous. With this one, it's daytime. You're in the open, and people can see the dark circles around your eyes. And yes, you could say, you know, a lot of photographers and fashion ad campaigns have celebrated this thing called heroin chic, which is a horrible thing, obviously. But let's not get too politically correct here. And so you could see that things can get aestheticized, even though they're horrible. In the daytime, and the black circles, and putting huge sunglasses to hide that, very pale skin, walking through Denny's or something, you know, and I don't know, getting some French fries or something, and then just like not eating them because you just can't, you have no appetite, you're looking for something else. So it's a reality TV show, this one here. But this one's a thriller. This one is shot by one of the best, you know, film directors. There's class to it, a lot of class. And I think what is really symbolic is the fact that the new Dior Addict uses silver hardware, like all of these silver details, like what is supposed to be metal or metallic, they're actually plastic. They're covered with silver. They're silver toned. The original is gold toned. This little thing on top is gold. And what I'm also sad about is that the lid, this little nipple-y thing, the little nipple, it loses its purpose. It doesn't have any function. They just kept it for aesthetical purposes because the original had it. But it doesn't have any function. You have to lift off the lid. And then once you lift it off, this thing doesn't do anything. But if you have the original bottle, you understand why this was there. This is literally like a knob. It's like almost like it opens a door. It's like a key to open a gate to something, because this perfume is locked. You cannot spray it until you twist this little knob and you unlock the fragrance, and then you push it in, and from out here comes out the liquid. So there's no taking off the stopper. There's no entering this bottle. It's sealed off. It's more closed in itself. It's not accessible. It's a hidden addiction. This one is accessible. We open it. We see more the structure, the technique inside of it. Hence, there's less mystery. And in fact, the fragrance is also less mysterious. It's beautiful nevertheless, and I will keep purchasing it for sure, even in its new incarnation. But that oak moss in the original, really, it's like haute couture as opposed to pret-à-porter. This thing is haute couture, the little one, the original. It's like you've sewn together, that the oak moss is that golden thread that kind of per hand is like sewn together. It puts together all the other ingredients. It literally flows between every single ingredient in the fragrance. And everything is woven together. And all of these kind of patchworks of all of these ingredients just like kind of ploop, click together because they're kept together by the oak moss. In the new version, this one here, the ingredients are less. There's not just lack of oak moss, but there's a lack of other things as well. The blackberry isn't there anymore. The sandalwood, I think, is not listed there as well anymore. It's more watered down. It literally is more watered down. And whether or not Dior had to do that because of the new, regulations of ingredients that are allowed to be used or not in fragrances, whether or not that was the case, or because they just thought that by changing it the way that they changed it, that they're going to make Addict more young and fresh. I don't think they've succeeded in making it more young and fresh because it's pungent. That's the word for it. The old version is not pungent at all. It sneaks up on you, it creeps up on you, and it lures you in to that addiction, and it keeps you locked in, but it never screams. It never makes it obvious that it's luring you in. This one is literally like, hey, come on, come here. Hey, hello, did you hear me? Come here, hello, I'm here, come here, follow me. It's a bit vulgar. This one is not vulgar. It's dangerous because any addiction is dangerous, obviously, but it's elegant. Now, the new one, you got to give it a lot of time. The dry down is beautiful, but you need to wait over an hour till you hit that right balance between the vanilla and the tonka bean. And then you're sailing on magical, magical winds. You don't need to wait that long with the original. But you keep digging into your skin because it stays very, very close to the skin. It's so elegant. Thierry Wasser, great job. Demachi did not do a great job. I would have kept it the way it is. I don't understand why the need. Dior is a powerful fragrance house. If anybody has the power to find the ways to produce the fragrance in the same way, to make it smell the same way, even though the oak moss has to be replaced in some way, shape, or form. If anybody can do it, Dior can do it. But Dior opted out. They reduced the fragrance instead of enriching it, enhancing it in some way to keep it alive as it was. Its DNA is still there, but it's screechy. It's screechy. And you understand that screechiness opposed to the calm only if you really have both of them side by side, the original formulation and the post-2014 formulation. Only when you have them side by side, you understand how they are different. And especially when you have the original packagings and you read that word, that name, Evernia prunastri, oak moss extract, which is gone. And with it are gone our caves from that island, which is a wonderful island. Could you imagine like walking on the soft, soft earth, soil covered with the mossy green, and every time you touch it, that kind of dampness of it emanates a little bit. Then you have these fields of jasmine all over the place, and every cave has the queen of the night in it. And then from the sky, instead of sun, you have literally clouds of vanilla. Vanilla can have, the flower has that kind of yellowy tone. The clouds are that yellow vanilla tone. And every time it rains smoky vanilla on top of the island. And all that kind of like smokiness of a vanilla falls on top of the oak moss as you're walking. And as you're walking, it just poofs out these shades and nuances of tonka bean meets the queen of the night, and then that oak moss keeps kind of lingering on. It's just amazing. You literally lose track of time. Literally. And yet it's a mass released perfume. It's a mass product. So it doesn't have that extreme sophistication that a niche fragrance would have. You still sense out, even here in the original formulation, a bit of artifice. There's artificiality in there, but that's fine. Given the circumstances that it was a mass release product, they still managed to maintain an integrity of elegance that lacks in a lot of mainstream releases nowadays. So kudos to Dior for that. Kudos to Thierry Vassar for creating this majestic fragrance. And I say, why did you do what you did, Demachi, with the reformulation? It's still okay, but once you've smelled the real deal, it's hard to go back. When you know, especially how good the real deal was, then it's really hard. Also, with all the price increases and markups, it's really hard to justify the price of the new one, knowing that you're missing out on something so magical. And I for the love of me, I don't understand why these companies keep doing this. I don't even, to save money, really, but you're ruining your image. You're hoping that the new generations are not going to be able to compare the watered down versions with the original versions, but they're going to find a way. People are not stupid. People will discover that there was a different design to the bottle, and they're going to ask themselves, wait a minute, was this a different perfume? Then they're going to find, secondhand websites where they could maybe order to test it out. Then it's going to come home. Then they're going to smell it. They're going to fall in love with it. And they're going to ask themselves, well, why is this perfume now smelling so different? And, when people wake up and realize what the real deal is, then they're not going to purchase your products anymore. So be careful. All of you big brands out there, don't mess with us. We know. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to retrieve to my Oak Moss Island with many, many caverns and many, many queens of the night. And join me if you wish. If you have an original version of this one, spray it on now and dream away. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please do thumb it up and subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. They will keep reformulating. I know they will. They will only stop if we stop purchasing. But no matter what happens, we never give up on love. Love you guys. See you soon. Take care. Bye.